The world of supply chain is at a very fast pace converging towards a state of optimization. I keep saying this, if there is one value addition that supply chain does, it drives growth. So supply chain in the earlier days was considered a cost center. It's not a cost center, it's a profit center today. To specifically answer your question, what is driving or what's changing in supply chain in the next 5 years? I think the adoption of artificial intelligence to optimize each aspects of supply chain, whether it is reducing risk, reducing cost, enabling speed, optimizing customer experience, optimizing the selling partner experience, which is sellers and vendors. The sheer technology has so much of scope to optimize each parts of these supply chains, and I think those would be the biggest drivers. Things that we had not thought of previously. We had not heard of a 10-minute delivery. Before that, we had not heard of a single-day delivery. And all these things are being enabled not because, and not to say that those things have not made a difference, it's not happened just because the infrastructures in the countries have changed. What has fundamentally changed is the capability of these systems to even do something like a 10 minutes delivery. So that's broadly what I think would continue to be the biggest levers of change in supply chain. So let's talk about what is changing. What is fundamentally changing today because of the democratization of AI is that knowledge is not a superpower anymore. And when I say knowledge is not a superpower, a B school degree was a passport to a particular level, which is not anymore because AI has fundamentally democratized knowledge. Then what becomes the superpower? What remains as the superpower for someone who wants to be industry ready, who's just moving out? So when knowledge is not the superpower, someone with 5 years of experience and someone with 6 months of experience can fundamentally reach the same stage with the AI tools that they have. So to directly answer your question, what would continue to be the most enabling capability for someone who's just getting into the industry is, I think, to be AI native ready. And that means not just the ability to use tools like ChatGPT. That means the ability to know that what all these technologies can do. What are the things that are being prioritized by the industry? Things that would not change in the supply chain domain is supply chain companies would want to continue reducing risk. They would continuously want to reduce cost. They would continually want to reduce speed of deliveries. These things will not change. So for someone who's trying to become industry ready, I think the ability to understand that what would the industry want in this particular supply chain domain, what can AI do today, and what kind of problems need to be solved in the supply chain domain so that that person becomes relevant to the particular company which is hiring. I think that would continue to be the most important factor. Beyond AI and optimization, I think the fundamental change that supply chain has to drive in the understanding in the industry is what I mentioned, that supply chain drives growth. While yes, supply chain reduces risk, yes, supply chain is a cost center, but the fundamental change that I think we all need to drive is that supply chain is not a cost center, it is a profit center. And it is a profit center because only when supply chain is optimized do you deliver all those things that I mentioned to you. If supply chain is at the optimal level, beyond Six Sigma efficiencies, the seller's interest would be protected, there would be less risk, cost would come down, customers would be happy, they would be delivering the stuff at the minimal cost, at the optimal speed. So to think of supply chain as a profit center and supply chain as an enabler of growth, I think is the biggest shift that we all need to make. And I'll talk about the military background synced with the business experience that I have. Anyone to success within the military or the corporate is the tolerance to ambiguity. the sheer scale of change that is happening in every domain, including business, and today's roundtable conference is about AI. AI is changing every week. Every day you will hear a headline of a new foundation model, a new large language model being launched, a new technology being launched, and a new use case someone has thought of using AI. The ability to be okay with change would be very important, because change is a constant factor that at least your generation would continue to face. My generation faced it much slower. Your generation will face it much faster. It's a mindset that is needed to handle it, and that is be tolerant to change, be tolerant to ambiguity. And the second one that I wanted to share with you is skills will always continue to be relevant, but more relevant is attitude than skills, because skills can be taught, attitude can't be taught. So while it's very important to have the right skills, it's very important to have the right AI skills in today's domain like supply chain we're talking. But what's more important is the right attitude. And when I say attitude, putting it in context of someone like you who would be passing out another 1-2 years, being industry ready, attitude of being comfortable with change, being okay with ambiguity and things like that, I think will continue to be very relevant.